Welcome to another video from TraderBot Marketplace. Before we begin, make sure you understand the following disclaimer. The risk of loss trading any financial instrument can be substantial. You must be aware and willing to accept those risks in order to invest. Don't trade with money you cannot afford to lose. TraderBot Marketplace doesn't solicit nor offers to buy or sell any financial interest. No representation is being made that any account is likely to achieve profits or losses similar to the ones discussed here. Past performance is not indicative of future results. All strategies discussed here are for illustrative purposes only and are not to be construed as specific advisory recommendations. This material is for educational purposes only. You can always find out more about TraderBot Marketplace by visiting the link below. Now, let's get to it.
Many people have asked me how to read the signals. Now, whether they're signals in the chat room or they're signals that you derive from your software, here is how you read them. I'm going to take a picture here. Now, you have to know a little bit about how a binary option works in order to know how to read these signals. If you don't know how a binary option works, do this. You'll want to go to my YouTube channel, click on videos down here, and you see this light bulb. This is the one you want. It's everything a newbie should know about binary options. Now, I'll put a link to. Actually, you're probably watching this on my YouTube channel right now. Okay, just go to the videos and find this one. Everything a newbie should know about binary options in 27 minutes. And it will show you what a binary option is. Watch that one first, and then you will understand this video. So, look, we've got different strikes on the chart that you can buy at. You can buy up here, you can buy down here, or sell it, vice versa. Each strike corresponds to the same color over here. So on this signal, when it comes out at the beginning of the bar, you're going to be able to see the percentage of time that it finishes in the money at that particular strike. This one finishes in the money 88% of the time at this particular strike. So this one finished in the money. This one finished in the money. This one finished in the money. They all come out at the beginning of the bar, not in the middle of the bar. It's always at the beginning. And when they come out, you're going to know how often they finish in the money. We've got some that says a 100% win rate. However, if price is here when it comes out, you're not going to be able to buy down here. The only way you can buy down here is if price pulls back hard, and then you can buy it. And it finished in the money 100% of the time over the past 50 trades. Okay, if you want to buy an out of the money or buy for cheaper, you can buy up here. Now, how often did it finish? Did it close above this line? Well, 20% of the time, not much at all. Out of the money trades are good for profit taking. In the money trades are good for expiring. Just remember that, and I'm going to show you in a minute. The at the money wins on this is about 50-50, so in the monies are good. If you want to go for profit taking, let's look and see how often price moves. These are 10 pips apart, I think. I will tell you in a minute. Yep, they're 10 pips apart. So if you buy 10 pips above the market at the market open, how often can you make any money with that? Let's say you buy it for 20. 10 pips above the market. It's going to touch the out of the money level 1 or touch 10 pips 34% of the time. So on this particular setting, it's not a great out of the money strategy. There's all kinds of strategies, and we'll go over those in the chat room with you. But it does touch 34% of the time. But that's for a 1 hour expiry. What if we want to choose a 2 hour expiry? We can choose a 2 hour expiry if we want to. Now on a 2 hour expiry, if you're buying 10 pips out of the money, it's going to hit it more than half the time. 54% of the time it's going to hit it. It's going to hit 20 pips out of the money 22% of the time. Now, you also have to look at your consecutive win-loss rates. How often do they hit in a row consecutively? If you're buying an out of the money, it has won 5 consecutive times in a row and lost 4 consecutive times in a row. And you can look at all these down here. Like, you don't want to buy an out of the money level 4 because it only won 1 time and lost 32 times in a row. You don't want to do that. So this is a warning on what not to do as well. If you look in here back at the expiry mode again, at the same thing, you can see that an ITM level 1 finished profitable 17 times in a row and has only lost in a consecutive manner 2 times in a row. You can see that here. As far as OTMs, they're not as good for expiries. Now, what is good on this particular setting is, instead of going after a 1 hour expiry, if I'm looking at a 2 hour expiry, my win rate just went up from 50% to 66%. It's won 10 times in a row. It has lost 4 times in a row. So with these probabilities, if you're taking every single trade, you're going to win 66% of the time on an at-the-money trade over the past 50 trades. Here's another setting. If you're looking on a daily chart, which is what we're looking at right here, here's a setting you can use. It will touch 40 pips out of the money half the time. 40 pips out of the money half the time. Okay, so if you're looking just to take profit, can you get a decent price, 40 pips out of the money for an expiry at, well, these close at 5 p.m. You'll have to do a little finagling there, but most of them close at the end of the day at 4:15 or whatever. But they will do it half the time. And you can go in here and you can see when it's done it and when it's not. Let's look here. Down arrow here, it touched it here, it touched it here. Here it did not, it only touched level 2 here. Here it touched it barely. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. It got real close there. And here it did not. If you go back and look, you're going to see that they will go up in the direction of the arrow quite often. They will go down in the direction of the arrow quite often. And here's a down arrow. Here's a down arrow. Here's a down arrow, but it closed in the reverse direction. But before it did, it went down like 30 pips. So you can use these to gauge all kinds of things. If you want to go to 1 hour expiry, you know, let me get back over here. If you want to look at a 1 hour, hang on. There we go. If you want to look at a 1 hour expiry on expiration, not touch, on expiration, and you don't like the probabilities here on these settings, you can go in here and change your settings. Well, what if I want to look at, you know, a 24-hour expiry? Well, it's kind of ugly, but you'll see your percentages. I don't like those, but you can look at those. What if I want to look at a 3-hour expiry? You can look at that. Oh, well, I see here the win rate sucks on a 3-hour expiry. What if I reverse this? What if I want to reverse the signal? Now, over the past 50 trades, this set of signals has produced a 62% win rate at 12 wins in a row and 3 losses in a row on at-the-money trades. That's pretty good. ITM level 1 wins 84% of the time over the course of 3 hours out. 10 pips down, 3 hours out, you can find a decent price there. If you go 30 pips down 3 hours out, it's going to cost you a lot. It's got a 100% win rate over the past 50 trades. That means price has not closed below here over the past 50 trades. So there's all kinds of things you can do with these. You can find out, well, okay, what if I want to look at, what if price moves to a level, but then closes inside that level? Well, you can look at that as well. I know that on this particular settings, on out of the monies, it doesn't do it. But I also know that every single time it's touched level 3, which has been, I think, 4 in a row here, it's closed inside 100% of the time. At level 2, when it touches, I know it closes inside 66% of the time. It's only lost one time in a row, so that's pretty good probabilities as far as I'm concerned. And you can see it right here in action. It touched this level and then it closed inside. Let me find another one where it did that. Okay, the open of the bar came out. It went up and touched. Oh, the open of the bar. It went up and touched level. Let's see, 1, 2, level 2, which is a 66, and then closed inside. Here it touched level. Oh, that's an out of the money. No good. But you can see all types of different ways to look at your percentages. You can look at when it crosses out of the money, or I mean when it crosses a boundary, or when it crosses back into the boundary. You can change your parameters up here. What if I want to look at a parameter, you know, a different parameter? I can change my parameters. Okay, now it shows a 100% win right here. It's only had 4 trades though on that particular set, so I'm not going to look at that. There's not enough data there. I don't like that either. A lot of times it's just trial and error, and sometimes the like an index or something may do a little bit better than Forex. On these right here, I'm looking at the Dow Jones 30 or the Wall Street 30. I'm going to look at just expiries. Now watch this. You can look at specific time frames. This has an ATM or at the money win rate of 44%. It sucks. But let me change it here and we will take another look at it. Now just by changing a few parameters, the ATM win rate is 61%, and I'm only trading during the daytime, during 8 to 3. Now what if I want to just go long only? Maybe I have a long bias and I'm looking for a trade opportunity to go long only. Well, it's still about 63%. What if I want to just reverse the trade but change a couple of parameters? Maybe I'll do this and reverse the trade. It's still at 60%, but my best one was the very first one. So you can go in there and change all kinds of things. We have 11 different indicators like this, so there's plenty of opportunity to find all kinds of trades. If you're wondering what type of win rate we have on the signals, here they are. ATM 68%, ITM level 1 is at 90%. On a Wall Street 30 trade, 61%, ITM level 1, 66%. On a British pound, 68%, ATM win rate 82%, level 1, that's 10 pips out for a 2-hour binary. All these are 2-hour binaries. USD yen, a little better than break even here, but the win rate in the money is 74% for 10 pips out. The NASDAQ or the US Tech 100, 61% ATM win rate. Doesn't come along very often. The S&P is at 60% win rate. Australian dollar, it's only about a 50% win rate, but on the ATM, but the ITM 10 pips out is 90%. It's only lost one time in a row over the past 50 trades. USD Swiss franc, 62% ATM, 84% ITM. Euro pound, that's a 98% win rate on a 10 pips ITM. Now that's because Euro pound doesn't move as much, but you can still get a price. Okay, and if you want to find out a little bit more about who we are, just go to TraderBot Marketplace. Here's the cart if you want to sign up. You can get a whole lot of stuff for free right here. We give out free indicators and things. But there it is. If you just want to find out a little bit more about us, just go to TraderBotMarketplace.com, press enter, and you can go through and scroll and see what we're all about. That's me. And this is a bald guy. I'm bald too. And you can just go through, you can click on our forum. If you want to create an account, you can click on an account, my account. Just go through and look at, what we offer. And there you go. If you want to, if you don't even want to do that, but you're a Facebook junkie, maybe you checked your Facebook. I post all of our signals and everything. Let me see here, facebook.com/groups/Joaquin Trading. You can go here and we post all of our signals. We post my FX books. We post, we just talk to one another in here. We post our binary options wins. Down here are some my FX books for something Terry's working on. We just got a lot of stuff going on. We just talk each day about different things, try to help each other out. Everybody in here is nice, and sometimes we just post, our desks or whatever, take polls, talk about anything market related. And we do not allow spam in here. So if you're a spammer, I'm going to kick you out. If you're nice, you can stay. And even if you disagree with me or anybody else in there, as long as you're nice, we can have an open debate. But it's not really about debating. It's about helping each other out and having a good time doing it. All of these people are real people. Every one of them I met in this group, and with an exception of this guy. That's my son. But they're all very nice and awesome people. And we met in Houston. And, so this is a real group of real people, not somebody sitting behind a microphone, except for me, right now. But anyhow, that's that. There you go. There's a little bit about what we do and how we do it. All right. This next little bit is about Forex. It's for a guy named Justin who asked me about Forex. Let's go in here and look at, I don't know, something. USD-yen. Okay, we're going to look at what's called trend following. You can get trend following signals, and Forex doesn't have expiries. They just don't. So let's go in here and set a good trend following signal. We're looking at the hourly. We're going to go in here and look at, I just know these because I do. We're going to go in there and look at 240. Let me set the arrows. Resize arrows. I'm going to set the arrows at a big whopping 10 so you can see them. Okay, you can see these arrows now. These are trend following signals. Notice right here in the middle is when the signal comes out. Okay. Can you make any money? Here, price moved up 137 pips. Here, price moved down 107 pips. Here, price moved up, a lot. As far as stops and stuff, there's all kinds of strategies to do this with, but these signals are good quality trend following signals. Price moves up. They do not repaint whatsoever. Here, price moves down 1,000 pips. This is on the hourly chart. Here, price moves up. These arrows can point you into the direction that price is trending. And you can see that even if they make a pullback, if you get this arrow on these particular settings, the probabilities are you're going to make at least some money. Now on this one right here, it was at the very tip top, but guess what? Right here, another opposing arrow came out to tell you if you are not already out of this trade, you better, by gosh, close your trade because the trend has changed. Now there's various types of strategies. One strategy that I do is I will get in 3 times. I'll get in one, on the signal. I'll get in one, right around the what do you call it? The level 4, and I may get in one down here. I would change these in order to do that. But in a lot of circumstances, price comes, after it pulls back, price comes right back around to give you a profit. Now, you can't do that to infinity. You can only do it 3 times or you're going to blow out your account. You've got to have stops or hedges in place to do that. But when you get an arrow, and you know that when you get that arrow, even if there is a pullback, you know that there's a good probability that price is just going to freaking trend after that arrow. There you go. Okay, look at the past signals. This one went up 300 pips. This one went down 570 pips. This one didn't, and it got stopped out here. What was the, or down arrow here, what was the difference here? 227 pips. Now, out of all these signals, are you going to let this little 227 pip loss dictate that this is a bad thing? No, you're not. Let's go look at another. We'll look at, that's USD yen. Let's go look at something that's been trending. I want to see the signal actually painted before the big drop. British pound, US dollar. Now, y'all remember that big drop that just happened here recently, right here? It painted a trend signal all the way up here. That and down all the way to the bottom is 1,125 pips. You know, let's look at the Swiss franc during the whole thing. Let's go look at the Swiss franc. Hang on. Remember when the Swiss franc had that big drop? Let's see if this thing caught it before it happened. Swiss franc. Now, I don't know if on an hour. Let's go to a 4-hour chart. There we go. Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, here's a buy signal right here. And that sucker went up 1,300 pips. It caught on a down arrow right during that drop. So no, it didn't catch it. Didn't catch it at all. But, you know, this was a big mollywhopper. But on most of these, you can see that after the arrow, price trends in the direction. Let's see how many pips even on the little trend. 140 something pips, even on the Swiss franc. There, pulled back, went back in the direction. Went in the direction, pulled back, and continued in the direction. So, you know, even on, they come out at the beginning of the bars. This one rose 51 pips before pulling back. If it rises 51 pips, some things are, some strategies are you can take half off, leave the rest running. Take half off, leave the rest running. Or take some at intervals, such as 10 pips, 20 pips, 50 pips. You can just let it run and just set your stop for the whole thing at break even. There's all kinds of strategies. Let's look at another one, Euro Yen. Okay, let's back it up here all the way. Okay. That's as far as it'll go. So let's just look, what if we took every single trade and just held it? And we set our stop to break even, or whatever, after it hit so many pips. Well, here's one. It moved up 200 pips. From the time the signal came, it moved down 150 pips. This one moved up 857. This one moved down, who the hell knows, 1,500 pips. This one moved up, you know, 700 pips. Now this one right here, this is a lost trade right here. Here's one. It's a lost trade, and how much did it lose? It lost 500 pips. On the very next one, how much did it fall? Oh Lord. Okay, so on the very next one, 2,000 something pips. There you go. So those are the trend arrows, and they're just basic trend following signals. Okay. All right. Thank you. Ta-ta.